case none other than Judge Elizabeth Frizell. She is running, yes. She is running for Texas Criminal Court of Appeals, Place 3, CCA3, that's how I remember, CCA3. All right, are y'all ready to bring Miss Judge Frizell to the stage? Let's get this poppin'. Let's go all the way. 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 Woo! Here you go.
Who's ready to vote? Anybody ready to vote? Let's go all the way. You know, the fight for criminal justice reform continues. And it's not just in Dallas County, it's across the entire state. For those of you tuning in live through Facebook and all of the other social media, I am Judge Elizabeth Davis Frizell. Take me to the highest court. Take me to the highest court. I am ready for the job. I have the trial experience, the judge experience. And there's three main things I want to do when I become a judge on the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, the highest criminal court in the state. Number one, I want to address death penalty cases. Death penalty cases are appealed directly to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. In Texas, they have three levels cases. You have your trial level, which is when you go to trial, you have a jury or judge make a decision on your case. If you are not successful, you can appeal that case to the Court of Appeals. If you do not win your appeal, you can appeal it higher to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. Texas Court of Criminal Appeals is the same as Supreme Court on the criminal side. In Texas, we have bifurcated trials. Bifurcated just means two. You have two sides. You have the civil side and you have the criminal side. The highest civil court is the Supreme Court. The highest criminal court is Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. Who wants to take me to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals? Well, when you have a death penalty case, you skip over the Court of Appeals and you go directly to the Court of Criminal Appeals. We hear those cases. I'm sure some of you have followed some of the cases in the news. Many of you heard about the Rodney Reed case. That's a case that's heard by the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. And many, many other cases. It's important that we get it right. And it's important that we get it right the first time. That's why the second thing I want to focus on is wrongful convictions. There's too many wrongful convictions. We're at 32 wrongful convictions just in Dallas County alone. Unfortunately, we're number one in the nation in wrongful convictions. Can you imagine throughout the entire state of Texas? Do you know which state incarcerates more people than any other state in the United States? It's the state of Texas. We've got to change that. We can reduce mass incarceration if we, number one, make sure we get the convictions right. You know, so many people say, well, everyone in the penitentiary says they didn't do it. And some people did not. If that were not true, we wouldn't be at 32 wrongful convictions. Some of them were freed because of DNA testing. Some of them were freed because they figured out there were faulty identifications. There were many different reasons, but if we make sure that on an appellate level, we force the trial court judges to get it right, that can help us to have a fairer system. Now, I know we have a lot of Democrats who are on the bench in Dallas, but remember, I'm running statewide. So I will review the cases from people who are in Midlothian, in McAllen, in Midland, in Texarkana, in Odessa, in Houston, Austin, Dallas, all of the smaller cities and all of the larger cities. We will be reviewing those cases on the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. Some of them have no Democrats on any of their benches in their county. Some of them have no African Americans on any of the benches in their county. Some of them have no women on any of the benches in their county. I think diversity is important. As a criminal district court judge, the majority of the cases that I heard, the defendants were African American or Hispanic, minorities. We don't have to just be in front of the bench. We can be on the bench and behind the bench making the decisions as well. The court that I'm running for right now, there are 9 judges, and there are no Democrats on that particular seat. And some people have asked me, well, Judge, how do you think you're going to win this as a Democrat statewide? It hasn't been done in over 20 years. Well, that's what they told me in 2006. There were no Democrats on the bench in Dallas County, but I didn't listen to them. I ran anyway, and I won. We can do it. We can do it. And I want to not only, we've turned Dallas County blue, but we've already seeped into Collin County. You know, we have, 7 new Court of Appeals judges on the Court of Appeals, which includes not just Dallas County, but Collin County also. So let's just turn the whole state blue. Who wants to turn Texas blue? Well, we're going to take statewide what we started right here in Dallas. We have 9 judges who are running on the Democratic ticket in Tarrant County, our sister city, right now on the March 3rd election. So if you know anyone that lives in Tarrant County, please tell them to go out and vote. If you know anyone that lives in Harris County, tell them to go out and vote. I just left Harris County a couple of days ago, and I met several good, strong sisters that are running for district attorney, civil court judge, criminal court judge, commissioner's court. There are many that are running statewide. We can have change in the criminal justice system, but the change starts with you. The change starts with you, and the change starts with you. So be that change. Don't be the person that looks on the news and says, boy, I'm sure tired of this police brutality. Don't be the person that looks on Facebook and says, look at all these wrongful convictions through DNA after someone served 20 years in the penitentiary. That's a shame. Don't be the person who looks at the problem and says, well, I want to be a part of the solution, but I don't know what to do. I know what to do. You can vote on March the 3rd for Judge Elizabeth Davis Frizell for the highest criminal court. I want to make sure that we get this right the first time. The third thing I want to address on the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals is disparate sentencing. Disparate sentencing is when someone did commit the offense, but they received 60 years when they should have received 20. Or they received 20 years when they should have received probation. More than 50% of the cases that have come before me as a judge have had mental health illness as a component of the case. Do you know that that's something that is admissible in sentencing? You see, a lot of people will say, well, they did it, they deserve to go to prison. Well, when you get to the sentencing phase, just like I told you, there's a bifurcated system where you have civil and criminal. It's the same thing in our trials. Our trials in Texas have a bifurcated system. You have the guilt-innocence phase where the jury can only consider whether the defendant is guilty or not. If they find them guilty, then you go to the second phase, which is the sentencing phase. And that's when they consider what the punishment should be and what is appropriate. There are many cases where probation is appropriate even when they did it. You see, probation is for the guilty, not for the innocent. The innocent should be found not guilty. Probation is when you did do it, but there's a good reason for you not to go to prison, like mental health, like drug addiction. Has anyone watched all the vaping deaths and sicknesses we've had across not just the county, but across the state and across the country? Addiction is prevalent throughout this nation. And I believe that people should have an opportunity to get free of that addiction. See, when they go to prison, unless they get life without the possibility of parole, which generally doesn't happen on a drug offense, they're going to get out. And they still have that same addiction if it hasn't been addressed. The way you reduce mass incarceration is to make sure that the trial court judges are allowing mitigating evidence. That's what that's called, mitigating evidence, a reason to lessen the sentence, like mental illness and drug addictions. As a criminal court judge, a court of appeals court judge, I can review those transcripts, not only for the trial court, but for the appeals court. Sometimes people appeal their sentences and it's just rubber stamped. Oh, what you did is fine. Well, there were some errors, but they weren't reversible error. It wasn't a critical stage in the trial. You know, there's case law that indicates that. If it's not a critical stage of the trial, even if there's errors, it can be considered reversible error and the judgment of guilty stands. Or the sentence stands. As a Texas Court of Criminal Appeals court judge, I want to make sure our trial courts get it right and allow the mitigating evidence, so if it should be a lesser sentence, that's what the defendant receives. We can do better in our highest criminal court in the state of Texas. We can do better on death penalty cases. We can do better in wrongful convictions. We can make sure we get it right in sentencing. We can have excellence in the highest criminal court in the state of Texas. We can excel with who? Now y'all know I had to do a little blast for the past. Some of you all remember when I ran for the district attorney race and got 49.9999%. So those of you that stayed home and said, oh, my one vote won't matter, she's going to get in. Now you know your one vote does matter. 50 votes matter, 500 votes matter, and even one vote matters. So this time, if you're saying, boy, Liz, we sure wanted you to get in there, well, you have a second chance to take me to the highest court this time. You see, to do criminal justice reform, we need to have people in the right places all across the board. We need great state representatives like Jasmine Crockett. You see, we need people to make the laws because we interpret the laws, but we can only interpret the laws that are made. So it's important that you go out and vote all the way down the ticket. That's why this time my theme is not excel with Frizell, even though we do want to excel. We want excellence in everything that we do. But this time, we want to remember I started as a municipal court judge over 20 years ago. I've been practicing criminal law for 26 years. I've been a judge on every level, municipal, county, district, except for the appellate level. So I started at the lowest court, and now I'm going to the highest court. Take me to the highest court. Our theme this time is let's go all the way. From the lowest to the highest court. From Dallas to Houston to Austin to Midland to Odessa. Throughout the entire state of Texas. And we want to go all the way down the ballot from the top to the bottom, bottom to the top. We want to make sure we get good judges. All right, all the way. Yeah, let's go all the way. Let's go all the way. I love it. You guys are ready? We've got Judge Sandra Moncrief. We've got Judge Audra Riley, criminal court, family court. I see my friend Janelle is here. We've got so many different strong lawyers who know this criminal justice system, who know the civil courts, the family courts. Judge Monica Purdy, she's been sitting in judgment of all types of civil cases, million-dollar cases where your money is at stake. But you see, all of the names I'm giving you, we've done our homework and we have the experience. We're not just running to run. We made sure that we knew what we were doing. We knew our way around the courthouse, knew the objections. We knew how to do our jobs at each level, and now we know what to do at the next level. So now I've got something for you to do. I need you to go out and tell 10 people, everybody in the room, everybody who's listening to me through Facebook, if you received something through your social media, please share it with others. Those of you that have 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers, even if you have 100 followers, share all the things that we share with you through our social media, because that's the way we're going to cover the entire state of Texas. Frizell for judge. Frizell for judge. Frizell the number 4 judge. That's my website. We just launched a brand new website today. Go out and check it out. Frizell for judge. All of my social media is Frizell for Texas Judge, Frizell for TX Judge, all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of them. Make sure you follow our campaign, and make sure you check out all the candidates that are running. You see, this time it's going to be the first time it's no more straight ticket voting when we get to November. But before we get to November, we're not going to wait till March 3rd to vote. We're going to vote early. Early voting starts February 18th. Early voting starts when? February 18th. Early voting starts February 18th. Don't wait till March 3rd. I know you can't wait to get to the polls. Vote early, vote often, vote for Frizell. All right, where's Judge Julia Hayes? Is she still in here? Judge Hayes and I started this journey many years ago. On the campaign trail, knocking on doors, handing out flyers, just telling people, we're here. We're here to make these reforms. Sometimes if you had a crystal ball, it would be wonderful, but sometimes you don't know at that moment that you're going to be the next Texas Court of Criminal Appeals judge, that you're going to be the next county judge, Judge Hayes, but you just have to keep going. We can do this, but I can't do it alone. With you, we're going to cover this whole state. Does anybody have any friends, relatives, family in Houston, Harris County? What about Austin, Travis County? What about Tyler? Anybody know anyone in Tyler? Okay, I know somebody knows someone from Texarkana. Yes. All right. Okay, Mansfield. Very good. Anybody know anybody in Midland, Odessa, Lubbock? I want you to get on your phones, get on your texts, your emails, your social media. Just send a quick little text or message after this and say, hey, my friend Judge Frizell is running for a statewide judgeship. It's the highest criminal court. You all talk about criminal justice reform, but she's putting her actions where her mouth is. She's putting her time where her mouth is. I have one of my biggest supporters right here in the room, and that's my husband, Mr. Marvin Frizell. Marvin wants to come up and give a speech to you all today. He's like, no, please. But he's going to save that for the victory party. I am taking a time away from my husband, Marvin Frizell, to travel the whole state. At least you all can tell 10 people. Tell 100 people. How many people have more than 100 people on their social media? Anybody? More than 200? More than 500? More than 1,000? That's the election right there. That's it right there. I have another one of my number one supporters here. My son, Elijah, where are you? He's a statewide track runner. Just came off the track to be here with his mom. 4.0 student on his way to college. On his way to college. So when I send y'all those letters for his college scholarships, y'all respond. I have two more of my biggest supporters. They tell everybody about me at the grocery store, at the bank, at the cleaners, their next door neighbors. I probably got about 10,000 votes because of these next two supporters. And they're still with me on this campaign trail for criminal justice reform in the highest criminal court. That's my mom and my dad. You guys come on up. Y'all come on up here and join me. Let's go all the way. Y'all stay right here. Let's go all the way. Go all the way. Let's go all the way. Let's go all the way. Let's go all the way. My mom has been ready for this cheer ever since I announced I was running. So I'm going to let you do a little solo on the cheer. Let's go all the way. You ready? We're going to join in with her. One more time for Mom. Let's go all the way. 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 I love you, Mom. And my dad is here. As I close, I'm going to let him have a few words. He's always a man of wisdom. He's a Baptist minister, so he knows how to talk. So I told him if he gets too long, I'm just going to come stand next to him and just gently push him off the stage. No, I'm not. I love you, Dad. You told me I would be here in this position one day, and I didn't believe it. From the time I was a little girl, I wanted to be a lawyer at the age of 12 because my dad told me that I talk too much, and I need to get paid for all that talking. I said, I can get paid for doing this? So I became a lawyer. Thank you, Dad, for everything. I love you, love you, love you, love you. All right, here you go.
They were looking at Winston Churchill. And Winston Churchill I said, I want to leave these words with you. Whatever you do, don't quit, don't quit, don't quit. And he sat down. And we are pushing our daughter Elizabeth, Davis Frizell, wanted to go all the way. The sky is the limit. As we say, let's go all the way. 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 Let's go all the way.
And I really appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Eat up, drink up, and don't forget to vote February 18th, and then tell other people that happen to miss that early voting, March 3rd, March 3rd, March 3rd. Thank you all so much. So I started at the lowest court, and now I'm going to the highest court. Take me to the highest court.